from New York. If you're examining health care reform and you suspect a diagnosis of filibusteritis, you look for certain symptoms. Patient regurgitates what he already said, or if truly desperate, spits out some truth, like admitting he is repeating himself or who he works for. And as you'll see in our fifth story tonight, the diagnosis is in filibusteritis, or as it's also known clinically, Kyle's disease. Republicans have got it bad, and that ain't good. The GOP's latest effort, stop everything. The Senate Finance Committee has hundreds of amendments Republicans have offered to halt, slow, or politicize its final health care reform bill. With thousands losing their insurance daily, time is of the essence. But after a summer of public debate, preceded by a year of campaign debate, preceded by decades of legislative debate, Republicans now say, not so fast, because, you know, it's just too much excitement. Senator Jim Bunning there, offering an amendment in the spirit of the newfound GOP love for transparency to mandate posting online a Congressional Budget Office analysis of the final legislative language 72 hours before voting. The analysis would itself take 2 weeks. Even though Chairman Max Baucus says a plain English version will go online before the vote, Senator Pat Roberts defended the delay and revealed exactly who it is for.
The thing I'm trying to point out is that we would at least have 72 hours for the people that the providers have hired to keep up with all of the legislation that we pass around here and the regulations we pass around here to say, hey, wait a minute, have you considered this? And that's all I'm asking.
The people the providers have hired, that's you, Senator, who took $174,000 from Big Pharma and medical suppliers in the last 5 years. And your bosses, Senator Roberts, they already know what your committee is doing. Roll call reporting that pharma's top priority, killing a proposal, quote, to pay lower rates for prescription drugs, which you oppose. Heck of a job, Robbie. Today, Democrats called out Republicans for their delay tactics. Arizona's John Kyle took umbrage at the accusation, even though he had just admitted he was saying the same thing, quote, as I pointed out in my opening statement, and wanted to, quote, note one example I gave. In the clip you're about to see, he acknowledges a third time he already pointed out what he is yet to say. In other words, he quotes his own words, which he had already said to the same committee, but still angrily denies he's filibustering.
What's one of the cost drivers? Well, Senator, I pointed out a study that said that $100 billion. Mr. Chairman, let me just complete my thought here.
In about 1 minute, you'll complete your thought. Okay, we got to.
I'll complete my thought and then make another point, Mr. Chairman.
This is your delaying, Senator, and we just have to move on.
Mr. Chairman, I am not delaying. I'm making an extremely important point.
It's a very, very important point, but you're also delaying. So other senators have amendments they wish to offer. So,
Mr. Chairman,
go ahead, complete your thought. Then I'm going to have to recognize another senator. In deference to courtesy, to be courteous, other senators will also...
Mr. Chairman, it's courteous if you don't interrupt somebody right in the middle of the sentence of an important point they're trying to make.
You know, I'd last 8 minutes in elected office. Pulling himself away from the Finance Committee Festival of Amendments tonight, West Virginia Democratic Senator Jay Rockefeller, who chairs the subcommittee on health care. Great thanks for your time tonight, Senator.
Thanks, Keith. I was there. Yeah. I didn't realize it was that bad.
It was that bad. Politico reporting tonight that the Blue Dog Democrats in the House want to delay their floor vote until after the Senate has its bill completed. Does that shed any light on what you have called the substantial slow walk in your own committee?
No, because we don't have any blue dogs on our committee. We have Republicans, and that more than makes up for it. It is absolutely extraordinary. I think the average amendment that the Republican offered, or the ones that they were trying to beat down that we offered, took it 1 hour, in which people talked endlessly. And I've never really seen anything like it, but I just love the way you put that together into a montage that just showed how really pathetic it was, under the guise of doing something that the nation desperately needs, which is to lower the cost of health care and raise the quality of health care, and which is what the public option is all about. That will happen tomorrow. And what they will try to do with that, you probably ought to have a couple of shows on it.
Well, fortunately we do. Roll call reporting tonight on the subject of the public option that you don't seem to have, by their tally, the votes to get the public option into your bill when that amendment comes up tomorrow. There was a telephone news conference tonight in which you said you have a good shot, but you did not explain why you think that. So I think the obvious question here is, why do you think that?
Well, one reason I think that is that near the end of today's earlier session, we passed something 15-3, which everybody said would never, ever pass the Senate Finance Committee, and that is something called MedPAC, which takes away from the lobbyists and takes away from the senators and congressmen the right to set reimbursement rates for hospitals, doctors, and all the rest of it. That needs to be done professionally. Right now it's a political exercise, a fundraising exercise, and it's shameful. And you know what? Everybody went along with it. You know, maybe they were just ashamed not to, I don't know, but the amendment passed. So to me, nothing is impossible, and that particularly includes the public option.
Shame works under these circumstances, as I'm sure you know. Senator Roberts said, he openly said this, that he wants the medical companies to have a chance for their people to go over the final legislative language. Why big companies specifically?
Well, I mean, that whole thing is a joke. The idea of Ken Conrad took out, he said, this is what you're going to have, Mr. Roberts. And he took out 3 legislative pages written by lawyers. And not one person in the room understood a single word that was said. However, the point wasn't registered on Mr. Roberts or others. They went right ahead as usual. Obviously, you don't write legislation. You write it for lawyers. Now, it's all posted on all the websites available anywhere in the Western world. I'm sure it's true in Lithuania and Scandinavia and all over. But they want the language printed. And it is printed, and it's there for people to see. Options and different amendments are coming up almost as we speak, and it makes it very difficult. But it's a terrible demonstration, Keith. It's a terrible demonstration of public irresponsibility, the way the Republicans are behaving on this. I mean, health care, look, I come from West Virginia. I went there as a VISTA volunteer. I've lived with people that have a whole lot that they need in life, including health care. They are under the control of insurance companies. This Congress, at least a part of it, appears to be under the control of insurance companies. In fact, what we basically are doing is raising more subsidies to subsidize insurance companies to do what they ought to be doing anyway, which is why the public option is so important, because it doesn't have to make a profit, it doesn't have any shareholders, it doesn't have to report to Wall Street, it doesn't have any marble buildings, and when it passes, people are going to have a real choice, and a lot of them are going to pick. And what's interesting, that is the public option, what's interesting is that including single payer, which is about 20% of all doctors in this country, an additional 50 or 60% of all doctors in this country want the public option. No, they're not afraid of the public option. They want the public option because it's going to make things a lot clearer and take away a lot of paperwork. In other words, minimize the insurance companies' roles.
Senator Jay Rockefeller of West Virginia and the Finance Committee, great thanks for making time for us tonight, and as tomorrow and the vote on the public option in your committee, good luck, and bring your sandwiches with you. I feel you'll probably be in there for a while.
Yeah, you got it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.